Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to my honourable lecturer Dr. Siti Fatimah binti Muhammad Yassin. I am Muhammad ZULHAZMAN bin HAZLI with a matrix number of A153116. The purpose of recording this video is for me to present my thesis proposal entitled The Perception of Students and Teachers Towards the Implementation of Drama Activity in an ESL Classroom. Without further ado, I begin my presentation with Chapter 1, which is the introduction. Alright, what is drama? The word drama itself is originated from a Greek word, which means an action that derived from the verb meaning to do or to act. Drama is part of literature components such as poetry, short story, and novel. In fact, drama is also part of theatrical culture and it is staged in front of the audiences through a theatre production based on written script. According to Nurhayati 2016, most of the students were found to be less interested to participate in English class. This actually happened due to most of the teachers out there at school are still using the old traditional methods in conducting the lesson in ESL classroom. Teaching and learning speaking actually would be fun if the teachers know how to diversify the teaching methods and also the approaches used to bring an interesting lesson in the classroom. Therefore, the purpose of producing this paper is to study the students' and teachers' perception towards the implementation of drama activity, together with the approaches used by the teachers to encourage the students to practice speaking English in ESL classroom at school. Research background. Alright, in the 21st century learning, most of the lessons are carried out using technology, which replaces the old traditional classroom learning. Therefore, the execution or the implementation of dramatization elements in the real classroom seems to be less developed by the teachers. This is because most of the teachers out there are integrating the 21st century learning and focus more on enhancing the technology skills in the students' learning process. However, this is seen to be a problem to a few students, especially when it comes to adapting to the new situation, because the ability of the students' cognitive skills vary from one another. This probably due to the technology could not provide sufficient explanation as a human being could offer. Alright, let's move on to the problem statement. Okay, while carrying out this study, there are a few problems that I have already spotted, in which this research study is highly inspired by the fact that most of the students in secondary school, especially in Malaysia, have a very lack of speaking skill even though they are already in their final year at school, which is roughly in Form 5 or either Form 6. In fact, the approaches used by the school teachers, especially English teachers, to expose the students with speaking environment seems to be less interesting and quite dull sometimes conducted in the ESL classroom. This situation somehow has already affected the students' motivation to speak English regularly in the classroom. Because of why? Because the students have very limited exposure and chance to speak English regularly with their peers in ESL classroom. In addition, there were also a few past studies conducted had revealed out that students also had difficulty to converse very well in English language because of certain reasons. One is because they have lack of available platform to practice speaking among their peers at school. This has become a very worrying issue because the students communicate less in English during the English lesson in class, as they were only listening to the lecture given by the teacher without having interactive platform to speak English with their peers. Therefore, I found that drama activity could be another approach that teacher could use or implement in the classroom during English lesson, just to provide better platform and to encourage the students to practice speaking well among their peers in ESL classroom. On the other side, students from boarding schools in Malaysia as well normally excel in academic performance. This is due to the environments of their learning as well as the approaches used by their teachers, in which require them to drill and to memorize the structure and format of the examination paper. But the teachers are not providing more opportunities for the students to develop their creativity at performing a specific task. Besides, most of the students with this kind of excellent results from boarding schools usually are lacking of creativity skills, especially to express their ideas orally in the classroom. This happens because most of the students are drilled to focus too much in obtaining good grades on a piece of examination paper. Consequently, when a teacher tries to use drama element in the real ESL classroom, I found that the teacher may also face a certain amount of resistance, either from the students or either from the other teachers at the school, because of the tradition of that school to succeed in academic performance or academic achievement. Therefore, this may further devalue or downgrade the use of drama activity in English as a second language ESL classroom. Therefore, as a result, this has created such a notion that drama is impractical in the Malaysian context. Alright, let's moving on to the purposes of study. The purposes of this study are actually to explore students and teachers' perceptions on the implementation of drama activity, which is focusing more on short role play in ESL classroom, and also to study the approaches used by teachers in encouraging the students to practice speaking in ESL classroom at one of the boarding schools in Malaysia. Next is research objectives. The study aims specifically at these two objectives, which is the first one is to investigate the students' and teachers' perception on the implementation of the drama activity in ESL classroom. Second objective is to explore the approaches used by ESL teachers in encouraging the students to practice speaking English in ESL classroom. Next is research questions. The study is conducted based on these two research questions, which is the first one is what are the students' and teachers' perception about the idea of implementing drama activity in ESL classroom? And the second question is how do the teachers approach a big number of students to encourage them to practice speaking English in ESL classroom? Alright, what are the significance of the study that require this research study to be carried out? Alright, based on the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025, in the cohort of students' aspiration, knowledge is at the most basic level as every child will be fully literate and numerate. This is because students will also be encouraged to develop their knowledge and skills in other areas as well, such as skills in arts, music, as well as sports. Therefore, I see that drama activity or dramatization elements in education is the alternative way that could promote natural and real communicative development among ESL students at school. Alright, moving on to the next chapter, which is chapter 2 about literature review. While carrying out this research study, I've already found that there were plenty of past studies carried out by different researchers which also focuses and highlights on the implementation of dramatization elements in the classroom. Actually, there were plenty of international research that have been done earlier, but I couldn't mention it all, so I just mentioned the three that I found the most significant which related to my research study. Alright, so the first one is a study carried out by Obondo in 2018, which took place in the classroom in Kenya. Alright, the second one is a study carried out by Mohd in 2017, which took place among the secondary school students in Sudan. And the third one is the study carried out by Kumova and Poliushko in 2015, which took place in a classroom in Russia. Alright, so based on the results from the past studies carried out internationally, the results have shown that the use of drama activities such as role play have developed the communication skills among students. In addition, the implementation of drama activities in EFL classroom helped the learners become more better in terms of their emotional aspects. This could be seen when the students became more relaxed to express and to share ideas among their peers in EFL classroom. Meanwhile, while I also conduct my research study, I have also found that there were many local research that have been done by local researchers which touches about the drama education in Malaysia. So the first study was carried out by Mas Duki in 2018, which took place in Johor. The second one is a recent study carried out by Nat, Maslawati and Hamidah in 2017, which took place at the vocational college students in Sabah. So the third one is the study carried out by Sarudin in 2017. Alright, so based on the findings from the research carried out locally in Malaysia, it is found that the drama activities like drama production on stage, singing, role play and so on helps a lot in enhancing the students' self-esteem, and it also enriches their communication skills among the students. In fact, the execution of dramatization activities in ESL classroom in Malaysia helps reducing the students' anxiety, especially when speaking in public during the job interview. Last but not least, the implementation of drama activities in ESL classroom also shows a better improvement among students of English language proficiency. Alright, so this basically how my conceptual frameworks looks like. Right, so based on the literature review that I have already found from the previous or past studies, either it is international past studies or either it is local past studies. So actually there are a lot of studies carried out, but I just mentioned a few that I found the most significant, which is in Kenya. For international past studies, it took place in Kenya, Sudan, Russia and Ukraine. Right, so as for local past studies, basically it happens or it took place in Malaysia, which covers the areas of Johor, Sabah, Perak and Pahang. So when I read a lot of the past studies conducted by international and also local researchers, I find and I see the needs for this research study to be implemented or to be carried out, which focuses on the students and teachers' perception towards the implementation of drama activity in an ESL classroom. So in order for this research study to be a successful study to be carried out, so I need to find and I need to collect an information from the research respondents. So as for this, my research respondents are divided into two, which are the school students, which are, the first one is 30 school students and the second one is 2 school teachers. Alright, so there are 30 school students. Basically they are all Form 2 students in one class, which is from one of the boarding schools in Malaysia, will be selected, in which they will be answering a set of questionnaire which consists of 15 questions. Meanwhile, the 2 school teachers, basically they are the teachers from the same school and they are teaching English subjects at the school. Basically these two school teachers will be interviewed by answering 5 simple questions. Alright, next is a research gap. Even though there were plenty of previous research conducted by many different researchers from all around the globe, which studied on the dramatization elements too, but there was a knowledge gap that I found most of the previous research carried out had not touched on yet. Mostly the previous research focused on the effects and impacts on implementing dramatization elements, but the previous research not really focusing and investigating on the students' perceptions about the drama activities and also the effective approaches used by English teachers to encourage the students to practice speaking English in an ESL classroom. Therefore, I found that the perceptions from students as well as teachers, if the dramatization activities are fully carried out in the classroom, is not yet studied by the previous research conducted by different researchers. Alright, so moving on to the last, which is on research methodologies that will be used to carry out this research study. Alright, so as for the first one, it is about research design. In order to conduct this study, the researcher will use the mixed mode method, which involves 2 types of research designs, which are, the first one is quantitative design, the second one is qualitative design. As for the quantitative design, a set of questionnaires will be distributed to the ESL students in the classroom. Meanwhile, for the qualitative design, an interview session consisting of 5 simple questions will be carried out among 2 English teachers at the school to find or to seek for the research findings. Alright, next is research location. This study was conducted in one of the boarding schools in Putrajaya. This location is selected based on the sample selection that describes the students in Malaysia secondary school. This location is also strategic as English is taught as a second language at the school. and literature component is adapted into the syllabus as proposed by the Ministry of Education Malaysia. Moving on to the research population. This study investigated a population of secondary school students. The population is selected based on the research sample who attend ESL classroom and learn literature at school. The students are varied through their different races, which include Malay, Chinese, as well as Indian. Therefore, this variety gave more meaningful result in the data collection for this research study. Alright, the next one is research respondents. Therefore, there will be 30 of Form 2 students from one class who will be selected as the research respondents for this study. The students consist of Malay, Chinese, and Indian races. The students will be answering a set of questionnaire which consists of 15 questions. Alright, therefore the next one is research instruments. Research instruments is divided into two, which are the first one is questionnaire and the second one is interview session. Let's begin with questionnaire. Alright, therefore a set of questionnaire will be distributed to 30 of Form 2 selected students. There are 3 sections in the set of questionnaire, which are Section A will be covering on demographic, Section B will be covering on the students' perception on the implementation of drama activity in ESL classroom, and Section C will be covering about teachers' approaches that teacher use to encourage the students to practice speaking in ESL classroom as well. The last one, all the 30 questions will be collected at the end of the session. Alright, moving on to the interview session as the second research instrument. There are two English teachers from the same school who will be interviewed, and then there are only 5 simple questions will be asked to the teachers. Basically, the questions cover the aspect of students' English proficiency level, students' confidence level, the challenges faced by the teachers in teaching speaking in ESL classroom, the approaches used by the teachers to teach speaking skill, as well as the teacher's personal point of view on implementing drama activity in ESL classroom. Alright, moving on to the data collection procedure. Alright, as for the procedure, there are 5 simple procedures will take place in conducting these research studies. Alright, so the first one will be, there are 30 respondents will be exposed to a Form 2 poem called My Hero by Willis Hale through the English syllabus. Second, the drama activity called short roleplay will be introduced by the researcher in the ESL classroom. Next one, the students will be answering a set of questionnaire which consists of 15 questions. Next, on the other side, an interview session will be carried out among 2 English teachers from the same school. And the last one will be the teachers' voices will be recorded via voice recorder, then it will be transcribed and later it will be analyzed. Alright, the last but not least is research data analysis. So to analyze all the data that has been collected throughout this research study, there are 2 simple methods that will be used. The first one is descriptive method and the second one is inferential method. Alright, so as for the descriptive method, it is used to analyze the result collected from the set of questionnaire answered by the students earlier. The purpose of using descriptive method is actually to answer the first research objective carried out among the students in class, which is about the students and teachers' perception about the implementation of drama activity in ESL classroom. Alright, moving on to the inferential method. As for inferential method, it is used to analyze the result obtained from the teacher's response during the interview session. Alright, the purpose of having inferential method is actually to answer the second research objective carried out with the teachers at school, which touches on the teachers' approaches used to train or to encourage the students to practice speaking English in ESL classroom.